The Johnski is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Mills is freaking today, Militiaman. My name is King Prime. Welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Star Wars The Vintage Collection action figure, that being the Star Wars The Vintage Collection The Bad Batch clone Commander Rex, or Commander Rex, or Captain. Let's keep it real, it's Captain Rex. We all know this. The only reason it's under the Bad Batch packaging is because the Clone Wars version of this figure sucked ass. But before we start ranting in the first 30 seconds of the video, let's take a look at what the figure comes in. Of course, you do have that nice The Bad Batch logo up at the top there in that blood red that we're used to with all these VC figures, as well as a photo of Rex from the show. I think this is from season 1, I think, with the Rex Star Destroyer behind him. Not quite sure. Maybe sure. I don't know. His name is Clone Commander Rex from the Bracca mission, yes, of course. And that is on a blue nameplate to match the blue pill the figure is packaged on. There is the old counter logo there at the bottom. And on the back of the packaging, we do have that nice old-style VC card back, as well as a tiny little bio right there, if you want to read it. We do have some legal jargon there, and that is about it. I say it in every single video, my friends, but you really care about the packaging if you're a box or carded collector, of which I'm not. I'm here to open and review toys, and that is just what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Rex out of the packaging. But before we take a look at him, let's take a look at what he comes with. First off, and probably most obvious, we do have Rex's dual DC-17 blaster pistols, which are very small. You know, this is obviously a DC-17. I'm not sure if this is a new mold. Probably not. I think this is the exact same one that came with the Yark Troopers 3-pack from a few years ago. Obviously, Rex can hold this. You just need to turn it into his hand, put his finger in the trigger, and there you go. You have him holding his blasters. And you can, of course, also, as you see on Rex, there are holsters on his hips, as there usually are. You can just slide the blaster right in there, and it will holster just like that. So you have storage for both of the weapons, and that's usually where I keep those when I'm not displaying the figure at all times. I usually just shove those in this holster. But then, of course, most prominently, we do have the helmet. I don't want to say this is an obvious accessory because with the track record of Vintage Collection Rex figures, we've had to fight to get a removable helmet for Rex, and this one isn't removable. This is a swappable head. I'm not going to lie, I don't quite understand the insistence on moving away from removable helmets. I guess it's because it makes the figure look like they have too big of a head. If you just remove Rex's head real quick, just decapitate bro, you can pop on the helmet. And that looks very complete. It looks like Rex. But if you were to line up the head inside there, you can definitely get that to fit. And I mean, I'm half tempted to take a Dremel to this helmet and just pop in the Rex head, because truthfully, it seems like there's no reason why it needed to be swappable. I grew up on removable helmets. The Clone Wars figures did removable helmets very well. Hell, even as recently as the Vintage Collection Phase 1 Clone Trooper from Attack of the Clones that I reviewed a few months ago, the removable helmet concept is alive and well. For Rex, it just seems like an odd exclusion. That being said, this helmet is very nice. I'm not going to say it isn't. It has the two-tone line, the bronze and the silver line that goes around the length of his helmet and up top his visor. He has his tally marks on his helmet, which, as you know, are not kill marks of how many droids he's killed, but of the brothers that he's lost. And so I like seeing that detail in there. The J guys are obviously there. And this is obviously Rex's helmet. You can tell just by the build of it. Silver details on the sides, the vents on the bottoms. And that's about it. Of course, it does have a adjustable rangefinder right there, which is awesome. I love to see that included on every figure that has a rangefinder. If this accessory wasn't included, I'd be really surprised, but of course it is, so I have nothing to complain about in that regard. Moving on to Rex himself, however, he is just a spitting image of Tamora Morrison there. I think he looks just like him, just with the blonde Rex cut. The scanning technology is absolutely fantastic, as always, so very good job on this head sculpt. Moving down, we do have this pauldron, which, as you've seen, I've been just absolutely fiddling with. You could even say this is another accessory because of how often this thing moves around. I hate this thing. This is the worst. I'll say it right now. You see me struggling with it for the past few minutes. This thing sucks so much ass. It's soft plastic. It's painted. It's the pauldron that we know the Rex to have. But I hate it because it just will not stay put. If this tabbed in somewhere, it would be better. Or if it was more form-fitting to the body for the new Clone Trooper mold, that would be a little bit better. But it's not. And so I dislike it immensely. I'll be removing it for the rest of the review, so you can pretend this is now Bad Batch Rex, who does not wear the pauldron. Of course, he does have his undersuit sculpted into his neck and his upper torso. He has the blue striping going all the way down his arms, and those tallies that are on his helmet continue onto his arms, as they do in the show as well. Very nice, and even onto his hands. He has the weld marks on his torso armor, and they're not 3D, but you can definitely tell because of the jagged lines that they are supposed to be welds. They're bronze with a little bit of silver inside to emulate the different degree of what would, I guess, be melted plastoid armor, which, don't ask me how you can weld plastic, but, whatever. Moving down, of course, we do have a cloth comma for Rex, and as you can see, it does have the accurate blue stripe. It's just very hard to see in my lighting. Let me turn off the light and see if it helps. You can see it a little bit better like this, with the blue strip going all the way around and up, which is, of course, an accurate addition. He does have his holsters, which are on his belt and are attached via soft plastic, so they do get out of the way if you are to articulate, which I'll show a little bit more in a second. This comma is good that it's included. I like that it's like this, and there's honestly no other way to do a comma other than soft goods. It's just a little bit weird because there's obviously Rex's crotch armor here, and I believe that the comma is supposed to go into these top slots right here, but it does not like to stay sometimes, which can lead to the sticky outy part, which I don't really like that much. Moving down to his legs, he does have pretty plain legs and his blue knees. He does have some tallies on either of his shins right there, and then he has his boots, which are unpainted. As for the articulation of Rex, he does have that dumbbell joint at the head, so you can get some action. And side to side, he gets not as good to the side, but he does have some good on the front, which is good. At his arms, he does have a full rotation all the way around, as well as if you pull out the shoulder armor here, which is soft plastic, you can get an all the way out extension, which is great to see. I love this piece of engineering for the new clone mold. He does have a elbow bend, which goes a little bit past 90 degrees and doubles as a swivel. He does have a wrist sole, as well as an up and down on his left hand, and an in and out on his right. I would have preferred to have had him do both up and downs, just because of how he's supposed to dual wield his blasters. He's supposed to angle them and ensure that he has a straight line of sight on those blasters. And to have the wrists not being able to point down is just a little bit weird when having to pose those kinds of shots. He does have a great diaphragm joint, so he can get his Rex reps in. If you can believe it, he does actually have a swivel at the waist proper, although it does seem to be turning the comma, but as you can see right in there, there is a little swivel right underneath his crotch piece, and if you turn that, the waist does swivel, so you get extra good articulation at the waist. At the hips, however, he does have, as you can see in mind the angle here, ball jointed hips, so he gets a full range of motion forward, a pretty okay range of motion out to the sides, although it's going to get a little bit messed up by the blaster, and about that far back before you have to start moving his leg outward to get the extension. He does have an upper thigh swivel, as well as a knee bend, which goes about 90 degrees, as well as a foot down, a foot up, and an ankle pivot. And a very good ankle pivot at that, so you're going to get a lot of good posing out of that. Unfortunately, no full Van Damme, but you'll get some good pose. That's about it for the articulation of Rex. Let's bring in some other figures so we can show you exactly how he stacks up to some others. Stand, there you go. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Rex next to our previous Star Wars Vintage Collection review. Ezra Bridger, Hero of Lothal. Here he is next to the golden standard of action figures himself, Dark Times Darth Vader, who, of course, is on his display stand right now, because I always have him on that, but that is still a striking size comparison, even if he were not. Here he is next to the Star Wars Attack of the Clones Phase 1 Clone Trooper, who, of course, he shares a mold with. And here he is next to a surprise comparison. Here is my own custom Star Wars The Vintage Collection Captain Rex that I made on the VC45 base about 2 years ago. Of course, that Rex is much taller. I painted this helmet myself and stuff like that. And I think this uses a more animation styled helmet. But of course, this is all painted by itself and a removable helmet. And he uses the old VC45 Rex head that came with the Bad Batch 4-pack, which of course just a little bit mispainted there. Yeah, I might be stealing the pauldron from this figures to put on this one, because undoubtedly, even though I am very proud of this custom, I do definitely think that the new clone body mold for Rex is a better choice. But that's something that I'll talk a little bit more about in my final thoughts. Let's move on from the size comparison and get right to those freeze frame.
We want clones. Drop them.
Don't shoot, all right? We surrender.
Roger. 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 Roger, roger. Roger, roger.
Fight's over, soldier.
No. I think we're just getting started.
All right. I'm out.
Freeze frame unfreeze. So overall, I think that this Captain Rex figure, or Commander Rex figure, or whatever you want to call it, is a great figure base. As you know, I love the new Vintage Collection Clone Trooper mold. However, it is really a shame that they went in the direction of having a swappable helmet rather than a removable one. And the pauldron really holds this figure back from being something in high praise. I definitely think it's good. It has good paint apps and great articulation. However, the accessories are just god-awful. I'd rather nix the pauldron altogether. I hate that thing. I don't ever want to touch it again. However, that does not discourage me from saying that this figure is good. I think that any Rex fan or any clone fan would enjoy it as well. It's just that anybody buying this figure expecting it to be the pinnacle of Captain Rex's of all time is going to be sorely disappointed, just as I was. There's been a long history of Rex figures in the Star Wars Vintage Collection line. All of them have been pretty bad except for this one. So overall, this thing's kind of in the middle tier for me. I definitely would recommend it. Just, buyer beware. So if you like Rex, or you like the Bad Batch, you like Star Wars, the Clone Wars, you like Star Wars in general, make sure you share this video with your friends, share it through your groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. It keeps helping the channel grow, it keeps helping me pump up this content. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.